The supernatural has always been a part of human consciousness. It springs from the concept of the unexplained, things outside our current comprehension, what lies beyond. But humans can never accept helplessness for long. Eventually, we grow to fear our lack of control. So we think of ways to explain the supernatural, and methods to influence it, to control it. We pray, we sacrifice, we cast spells. We cannot leave well enough alone. In fiction, where the imagination of the writer makes the rules, the supernatural can be corralled with magical systems, incantations, alchemical components, or connections to grand beings. If they are willing, the author can allow the supernatural or magic to function like a science, where every secret can be laid bare as characters study its rules. But then, if magic is an empirical, scientific field, then what is supernatural? Where is the mystery, the danger, the fear? Like Batman always shows us, people fear the dark, the unknown, and they are also endlessly drawn by it. So when the story sheds light on the unknown, revealing it to be understandable, does that feeling disappear? Are we robbed of that wonder the supernatural provides? Well, just like the end of Attack on Titan, there is no single satisfying conclusion. So let's break it down to a few different perspectives we can approach it from. If you spend any time studying one of the sciences, you'll know that as we discover more things, creating bright spots of knowledge, we also become ever more familiar with how little we truly understand. Although we can try to nail down the truths of the universe as much as we want, there will always be more to learn, which keeps the feeling of discovery alive. This should be the same for any magic system. Take Nen as an example of how to do hard magic well. As it is heavily fleshed out, with many rules, concepts, and examples to go by, we can imagine how it might function if we had it, or guess about the capabilities of characters, such as how they would fare in a fight, or survive a disaster. Almost everything supernatural could be explained as a Nen ability, and it wouldn't be strange. Hard magic systems like this have a sense of realism, and feel grounded even as characters are flying across the screen, throwing wads of gum at each other, or conjuring weapons slot machines. I think these systems do interesting and cool well, and are probably my favorite type of magic, but they lose much of their ability to invoke wonder, mystique, or awe. Or at least in many cases, but we'll get to that later. These systems generally only function when they heavily restrict the power that is accessible by any person at any time. If something incredible happens, the catalyst and energy spent to make it happen are generally proportional, almost as if most of these systems follow the law of the conservation of matter, or in anime terms, the law of equivalent exchange. So for instance in Fullmetal Alchemist, how the mass of Alphon's armor remains the same even when it appears that Edward is fixing him, he is simply stretching out the existing material. The entire motivation of the story is the brothers trying to overcome this law of nature, and these themes are in general a large part of human history. The limitations of these magic systems can extend beyond universal constants like death, but it is difficult to maintain the logical tension your audience associates your story with. Magic in the more supernatural fairy tale sense has largely gone out of fashion in most mainstream anime, and fiction in general. Most function loosely in an RPG style, with limited but trainable mana pools. They function on a semi-understandable middle ground. Now, I have been saying that the empirical study of magic makes it a science, but from the audience's perspective, that's not entirely true. The audience can accept that magic is researchable, but if those rules are vaguely explained or largely subverted in the story, then conceptually, it is still a soft magic system. Take Magi, for example. In that story, there is a whole country of people dedicating themselves to the study of magic. Aladdin, one of the main characters, even attends school there, and we get a basic understanding of how it works. However, Magi's magic system can largely be broken down into magic is Magoi, their mana system, and Magoi is everything. In fact, this rings so true that you can convert matter into Magoi, just like you can convert matter into energy in our world. There are some complexities, sure. You can cast different elements in tandem to make stronger spells, or use mediums to cast them, such as the metal vessels housing the Jinn. Magoi can essentially do whatever you want it to, provided you have enough and the knowledge to use it, but this isn't exactly expanded upon in depth. What does this mean for us as viewers? Well, even from the show's beginning, magic has the sense of immutable depth, something unknowable, able to work miracles. Although rules exist, they are vague enough that the author can do whatever they wish without repercussion, as long as they maintain dramatic tension, which there are multiple ways to do outside of power systems, but we'll highlight a few of the ways to do it with a power system. Magic like this makes the setting more suitable for mysteries, confounding aspects of a world full of possibility. Surely this would destroy any sense of investment the audience has, you might say. Their problems can be solved with the flip of a switch. But deep and unknowable do not mean limitless, although it may very well be limitless. It simply means that they are out of reach, or difficult to deal with. There are many ways to make the audience be on the edge of their seat, even with soft magic. Give magic to the bad guys. Write down one or two limitations, such as the Jinn's inability to revive the dead, or simply use your magic wisely. Don't solve every problem with it, and don't make it a matter of course that characters are only as deep as their abilities. Give them interesting interactions, and it'll work out. Think Dragon Ball Z. Sure, no one stays dead, but does anyone care? It's cool, and that's enough. It doesn't have to be any deeper than that. My tastes aside. Stories need to be built with the rules of their world in mind. Can you imagine Monster with teleportation or tracking magic? The conflict? Gone, or at least unrecognizable. How about Soul Eater with Hunter x Hunter paragraphs of explanations every time they soul resonate? The emotions, the hype, stilted. Stories with no self-awareness can easily ruin themselves by conflicting with their own rules. But it can be done well. Now, I've covered a few of the things that make these two magic systems interesting, so let me cover one of my favorite methods of re-injecting the wonder into harder magic systems. I have a simple question for you all. What's the best underrated Disney movie? And why is it Atlantis: The Lost Empire? The answer is ancient magic. Not actually limited to magic. Remember when I said that magic as science still has the benefit of discovery? Sure, there are systems in place that we can learn about and understand. But do our characters know everything? No, of course not. There's always more to learn, if the writer provides it. For instance, the lion turtles from Avatar, creatures as old as the world, and benders of the spirit. We didn't even know that spirits could be bent until the last parts of the show. They feel mysterious, powerful, and hint at an iceberg of secrets waiting to be seen. However, I think the lion turtles were poorly used. They were introduced way too late and kind of just ruined the tension. Consider how many fantasy stories contain or even center themselves around ancient magics lost to time. Ones that can grant immortality, cure any illness, or bestow great power upon the user. For instance, just recently in Mushoku Tensei, we see that the characters enter a dungeon made eons ago that contains teleportation magic, largely a mystery to everyone. Or think of the arrow in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, or the 5 great calamities in Hunter x Hunter. Where did this supernatural power come from? Can the incredible things that they are capable of really be explained and replicated? Or if you've played Baldur's Gate 3, think about how powerful Netherese magic is, that it can subjugate beings capable of controlling an entire species. Stories of magical things beyond our comprehension have been the center of human consciousness since before the written word. Our favorite king of heroes, Gilgamesh, sought immortality from multiple sources that existed outside of his rule, even as the most powerful king on Earth at the time. I've been dancing around it, but a fairly straightforward example is anytime a mage uses ancient magic in Fairy Tail, it automatically evokes a sense of dread or wonder. Or when we hear about ancient weapons like Poseidon in One Piece, it makes us feel like small fish in an ocean, and as an obstacle can make the challenges our protagonists face feel even more daunting, or make the impossible seem possible. You don't have to limit your stories to one kind of magic. You can go as far into the ether outside what your characters and audience understand as you want to. Do it well and you breathe new life into a story. Do it poorly and pull the curtain away from your magic show, revealing the writer's hand. But it's worth the risk. When a story takes me by surprise or leaves me wondering what lies ahead, I can't stop thinking about it. That's what magic is supposed to be, isn't it? A wondrous way to change the world. Whether esoteric, familiar, or somewhere in between, let's not forget how beautiful it is to dream. Hey guys, I'm back, and thank you for sticking with me. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be making new videos soon, and I might be covering some Japanese language stuff from anime, if you're interested in that. 今回見てくれてありがとうございました。皆さん、またね。1秒やる。押せ。